So I promised a bonus episode because as the goober I am, I lost the footage to episode 2, so you guys got stuck with the logo, and I know a lot of people weren't too happy about that. So I've got this bonus episode. At the time of release, it should be released on Friday, the 24th. So again, as per usual, I want to thank La Luna Cafe, Tea and Dessert Bar for allowing me to film on their premises. Again, a huge thank you, and we're just going to get right into it. Actually, before that, I changed my mind. Of course, Red Velvet Latte. Today we're going to talk about the 4 pillars of Stoicism, right? The 4 cardinal virtues. It goes by a lot of names, but we're just going to refer to them as the pillars on this channel. So you've got wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. For these virtues, they are the absolute stems of what Stoicism really is in its entirety. First, before we dive into these pillars, we need to understand what Stoicism is, and it is a way of life. It's a simple framework for a more calm life, for a more peaceful life, for a more mindful life, right? The common misconception with Stoicism is that it is the practice and the philosophy of being emotionless and cold. That couldn't be further from the truth. Stoicism, again, like I said, is a simple way to practice a more calm life, to maximize positive emotions and to minimize negative emotions, right? The practice of cold-heartedness and being emotionless is nihilism, and that's not something I entirely had planned to speak about on this podcast, but if that's something that you guys want to hear about, or we can do an episode about it, just let me know down in the comments below and we'll do something. The first pillar that we're going to talk about is wisdom, and if you know what a pillar is, it's what holds up a building, but I believe wisdom is the strongest pillar of the 4. Wisdom is the act or the possession of practical knowledge. It's essentially knowing right from wrong, being able to discern right from wrong and making good decisions, having good judgment. And the big part of wisdom is focusing on what you can control. This also ties into temperance a little bit, but mainly so what you can and cannot control, that's wisdom. If you remember in episode 1, we talked about how frustrated I was with the weather here in Las Vegas, and we can kind of delve into that a little bit when it comes to wisdom. Let's just say you were going to go for a walk today, and the forecast says that it's going to rain. Kind of sucks. You wanted to go out for a walk. You wanted to enjoy the outside air. Of course, you can't control whether the rain comes or not, but what you can control is whether you bring an umbrella or you stay at home, right? So yeah, wisdom is just focusing on what you can and cannot control, discerning right from wrong, and making good choices on what you know, on your practical knowledge. Next, we're going to talk about justice, and that is living for the greater good, okay? Justice is the most selfless of the virtues. It involves really understanding everybody else, including yourself. Justice is understanding your social duty for humanity. Justice is treating others with kindness and respect because everybody else's well-being is tied into your well-being in a community, right? You guys are all in it together, and ideally you want to all be on the same page, emotionally, physically, spiritually. The way you can think about it is being in a beehive, being a bee in a beehive. What's good for the bee is good for the hive, right? Bees naturally work all together for the greater good of the entire hive. And you can think about it the exact same way. That's exactly what practicing justice really is. Courage is one that I wanted to emphasize today. Courage is known as bravery, physical bravery, and that is the definition when it comes to Stoicism, but we also talk about courage in the emotional sense and the spiritual sense. Having courage is doing what's morally right, even if it's scary or even if it's not popular or if it's distant from the group, right? To be courageous in the world of Stoicism, it's facing discomfort, fear, and uncertainty head on. Not being afraid of the consequences if you know it's for your values, right? Courage is truly standing up for what you believe in and standing up for your values without fear of the consequences, because you know you're doing it for yourself and you know you're doing it for what you believe in. When you really break down courage and what it truly is, down to the very simple terms, it is not the absence of fear, but it's action and presence, right? There's a very significant difference between not being afraid of something and facing something head on, right? Whether you're afraid of it or not. And having that bravery of facing something that you're terrified of or that you're scared of head on, face to face, that's what defines courage, really. Oh my god, dude, that stuff is so good. Temperance is another big one, and we talked about it in episode 1. Temperance is the act of self-restraint, self-discipline. It's the act of moderation. right? It's the act of controlling yourself for reaching for short-term desires, for short-term pleasures. I believe temperance is also the act of self-mastery, right? Understanding how to control yourself, understanding how to detain yourself from doing wrong, and that can tie into wisdom, figuring out what's right and what's wrong. In Stoicism, it's important to understand that what you're stopping yourself from is going to add up and is going to tie into long-term success. A lot of people struggle with short-term desires, short-term pleasures, you know what I mean? Having temperance to not act on your impulsive thoughts, on what comes to mind ASAP, is so important. One thing that a lot of people have a hard time practicing temperance in is spending money. We all like to spend money, right? We like to spend lots of money on nice things, and then we're left with very little for what we actually need, right? And that's fine. It happens to everybody. There's nothing wrong with treating yourself, but understanding saving for a long-term goal that you've set for yourself, and the happiness that you're going to receive when you reach that long-term goal is going to last a lot longer than the happiness you receive from that short-term pleasure, right? One thing that really helped me with this whole money spending problem was I would think 24 hours before making a big purchase, whether it was something I knew I needed or something I didn't need. No matter what, I would wait 24 hours to give myself time to think about it, on whether the purchase was necessary or not. And one thing that kept me from spending all my money was, okay, well, I'm going to be left with X amount for the rest of the time until I get paid again. Think about it like this. How are you going to feel when you have that amount of money left? Are you going to feel good? Because the feeling of having X amount of money in your bank account, knowing that it's a lot, or knowing that you're stable, that you're financially stable, it's a good feeling. It's a secure feeling. But when you go out and spend money on these crazy things, these overly expensive things that will leave you dry, you got to think about it. You're going to have to deal with that sense of insecurity, that sense of financial instability, and that's not a good feeling. Ultimately, as I said, Stoicism is about living a life that keeps you at peace, that keeps you at ease. And obviously financial instability is not something that brings peace to people. So when you put it into practice, understand that before you spend a lot of money on something, before you blow your whole paycheck on something, think about it for 24 hours. Is the financial instability going to be worth it? And will reaching my long-term goal bring me more happiness than when I receive this big purchase that I just made? You know what I mean? So think about the future, especially think about how you're feeling, right? It's very, very important. And understanding that your long-term goal is significantly more important than short-term pleasures is the base of temperance. Stoicism is not a overnight thing. You don't reach being a stoic overnight. It's just not how that works. Sorry, it's just not how that works. Reaching a high level of stoic practice takes years. I'm still working on it, right? It's a daily practice, not an overnight perfection. Like I said, this episode is just going to be short and sweet, so we're going to end it off there. But before you go, I want you to think about one of the pillars that we talked about, and I want you to practice it for the next 7 days. Focus on that one pillar, whether it's wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance, and really put it into practice for the next 7 days. And watch how you progress in those 7 days. Maybe it'll be big progression, maybe it'll be slow progression. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll be easy the first few days and hard the last couple days. Maybe it'll be hard the first few days and easy the last couple days. But really focus on one of those pillars for the next 7 days. And then after that, focus on one of the next pillars. Again, today's episode was really short. I just wanted to make it up to you guys for Monday's silly mistake of mine. Again, this should be uploaded by Friday. Monday's upload is still coming, so don't be afraid. Do not worry. Fear not. I'm still going to upload Monday, episode 3. Do me a favor, hit the like button. It really pushes this video out so more people can see my content. Share this with somebody that you think really needs it. And hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification and make sure that all notifications are on so you never miss an upload. I've got weekly episodes coming out every Monday, 6 p.m. PST. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this. And I'll catch you around on the next one. All right, take care.